Hello Space Cats! I've been an illustrator all my life. Well, perhaps not my whole life. And I'm here to show you how I do things, because sharing the love is how we learn, right? I live on a small island off the coast of England, which some think is stuck in the 1950s, but that suits me just fine. I spend my days painting, drinking proper tea, and booping my best buddy. I've been making picture books since 2012 and now have 15 or so published, and I illustrate all things woodland animal, sea creatures and fairy lore. I have playlists on how to make picture books and illustrator tutorials. So if quirky and whimsical and playful describes you, then grab a piece of paper and your weapon of choice and let's get creative. Since the Secret Library project was put on show to the public a couple of weeks ago, I have decided to keep making the tiny things with stories. I'm very happy that the Key Arts Centre shop have agreed to stock these miniatures, and I took the first few over there yesterday. This is one that I was working on called the Fungi Forest. It's the first time that I've worked with Milliput. Milliput? I don't know how you say it. Milliput. It's the first time that I've worked with Milliput, but I have used other polymer clays and epoxy resins as well as just regular clay before, so it felt pretty intuitive to use. You have to mix equal parts of the two sausages you get and mix them very well until they are one solid colour. I also have these very effective tools that help me to build things. So by putting that little dent in the middle of the fungi top, that helps to secure the stalk in place. And also then you can put those little marks around the underneath that signify the gills of the mushroom. The fallen twig that I found on the way to work had a hole in one of its offshoots, and I thought that would be the perfect place for some fungi to grow from. I find that I'm picking up loads of mossy twigs and lichen for projects like this when I'm on my way to work, and I'm quite often laden with all sorts of things by the time I get to my studio. The Milliput takes a few hours to dry, so I left mine overnight before I painted it. You can, and probably should, prime it first, but I just painted straight onto it with watered down gouache, and it seemed to work quite well. Oh, hey, before I forget, don't forget to subscribe for more stories and nonsense. Have you noticed every time a YouTuber says subscribe, the button lights up in cool colours now? I might just keep saying it so it lights up for you. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Okay, enough of that twittery. But you know the drill, it helps me reach other borrower and picture book fanatics if you do that previously mentioned thing and give me a like and even a share of the video if you are feeling very energetic. Back to work. My idea is to have these little museum pieces, each with a story to tell. This Fungi Forest one has a tiny storybook attached that reads, "The Fungi Forest. If you are patient and still enough, you might see the fairy that lives under the mushrooms." I would like to use something other than hot glue or super glue, both of which are a bit toxic and bad for the environment. I also have PVA glue that I think is like Mod Podge. I think we do have that now in the UK, but I know that's a staple glue in the US. But if you have any ideas about alternative ones that are not so hideous for the environment but do the job properly, I'd be very glad to know. I do need to stick things down really well. We don't want those things wanging around inside the bottle when the customer gets home. I have ideas for other miniatures, ink pots and quills, magical bookcases, apothecaries, oh I love an apothecary, and maybe something like a tiny reading corner. I know it's not picture books, which is what you have potentially come here for, but it's still story making in a more three-dimensional way. And I heartily recommend you giving other ways, other dimensions of storytelling a go if you are into picture book making, because it really does broaden your creative mind a bit. I'd love to know what you think of these and whether you think it's worth me putting some up on my website for sale. I am so happy making them, it's definitely my joyful place. In go those little blue fungi into that tiny hole in one of the branches. I did use super glue for this, and I had to wait for ages for it to dry properly. I always thought super glue dried virtually instantly, but it's not true. It's not true. So again, this is super glue on the side, and I had to stay like that for about 3 or 4 minutes for it to stick properly. And then I plopped a little tiny bit of glue over the top of it as well. The good thing about super glue is it does dry clear. And then I think that's probably it. It's got that purpley trunk sort of fungus at the top, then my little blue ones poking out of holes, and then the Fly Agaric down the bottom. I think that's pretty cute, I like it. Let's see if it sells.